Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert Podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster. All right. Welcome back to the Dirt and Vert Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And if you don't recognize the guy sitting in front of the screen right now, Andy Glaze, we had him on last February, and we were just talking a little bit about how many races that he's done since he was on the podcast, and it's already over a dozen. And of those dozen, 2 of them are over 200-mile races at least. The Coco Monster. So that's one of the things we really wanted to talk about. I remember you putting this out on social media, and I was like, well, that's an interesting idea. I can't wait to see how this goes. And we got to follow along on your journey because obviously you do such a good job with posting your journey. But, we wanted to learn a little bit about that and then also talk about your book that's coming out, which is huge. Can't wait to see that. Before we get into all that, let's hear about how Coco Monster was born, because I love the name and I love the idea.
So I'm one of the original people that have done Cocadona every year. I think there's 6 of us still grinding away every year. This year was year 5, and we're all kind of in a little competition with each other to be the last man standing.
I love it.
So obviously I knew I was going to do Cocodona. I mean, that's just like a given. And then Arizona Monster, Destination Trails launched that. And I was like, I always like to do races like when it's the first year, because that's when they're the like most messy and, things go wrong, things go right. They're just like, they're really unique experiences when you do year 1 races. And so, I was like, sweet, I'm going to do that too. But then like I started looking at the timeline. I'm like, oh, wow, these are really close together. I think, Destination Trails and Aravaipa have like a competition, like who can do the longest ultra. And so, maybe they put them close together to like kind of mess with each other. I don't know. Can't confirm or deny, but, makes sense in my head, because it was like, oh, Moab 240, oh, Cocodona 250. Now it's like Arizona 300. It's like, whoa, guys, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We don't want to go much further than that, but now there'll probably be some 1,000-mile ultra in like 10 years.
500,
or like something like Run Cross Country Ultra. But anyways, yeah. So those 2 were like real close together, and standard me, I'm like, well, I'm gonna do them both then, I guess. I'll just have to figure it out. And I had like a year to plan it. So on that level, it wasn't like too bad. And then I just had to come up with a name. So, I just started messing around. Like, is it going to be, the Coco Monster or the Monster Dona, or, which way are we going to go? And, I went with Coco Monster. So, but yeah, the origin story is always just like, how far can I push it? What's possible? What's not possible? And then, obviously ultra runners are crazy. So I wasn't the only one with the idea, but definitely me putting it out on social probably got a bunch of other people interested and came up with the same like plan. And I forget how many, I did a reel on how many people finished it both. I think it was like 10 of us or something like that. 10 of us finished.
That's pretty good.
I think like 30 people tried it or something like that, and 10 of us finished. So it was hard. It was hard to do both. I mean, just the just the Monster Dona, or no, not that Monster. Arizona Monster 300 was really hard. So I think that knocked a lot of people out of it because they did not finish that race. So, but.
Well, and, for the listeners, a 300-mile race, you can barely, to do a 100-mile race, it takes a week or 2 to get over that to do another race. But to do a 300-mile race, and then exactly 1 month later, you have 250 miles. Like, most people can't recover from 300 miles in weeks, more or less.
I think it was like 3 weeks. I don't think it was a month. I think it was 3 weeks. And then in those 3 weeks, I ran 100 miles each week. So, there wasn't a lot of recovery time.
No. How long did it take you to do the Arizona Monster?
It was a long time. It was like 130 something hours. So, I mean, it took me almost an entire week.
Yeah, I see Arizona Monster. 300 miles, 137 hours.
Yep.
April 4th. Cocadona 250, which you're right. It's probably about 3 weeks because April's a very short month.
I think it
Yeah.
took a week to do it.
Cocodona 250, it was May 5th, and that was 106 hours.
Yeah.
And just thinking about the hours
I
and
know.
miles that you ran. So how did Arizona Monster go?
I mean, the other aspect is like I did both those races solo. So I didn't have any crew or any pacers, which obviously made it way more difficult. I mean, I thought Arizona Monster went well, but it was hard. It was hot. You know, it's the unknown. You know, you can read about the course and you can read about things. I've never run Southern Arizona, so that was like all brand new for me. Whereas like Cocadona, like I said, I've done it 4 times previous. So like they change the course every year at Cocodona, but I pretty much knew the gist of what I was going to have to do. You know, like Arizona Monster at like mile 110, you have a 14-mile mountain climb where you're literally climbing uphill for 14 miles, which I've climbed a lot of mountains. I've summited a lot of mountains. I can't think of anywhere where I've done 14 miles uphill.
And I bet that was absolutely miserable.
And I did it in the hottest part of the day, so you're just super exposed. Whereas like other people did it at night, obviously, because in these races, everyone's moving at different paces. But and that night it actually snowed on the mountain. It got so cold and a rainstorm hit. So some people were stuck in a snowstorm up there. I was stuck in like this crazy heat spell, and that's kind of how Arizona was. It's like it got real cold at night, like real cold, to the point where I was wearing, and I never do this, but I was wearing pants at night. And a puffy jacket. Like I brought a puffy jacket with me, and I was still cold, and then like the second the sun comes out, like 6 a.m. in Arizona, it's immediately hot again. Which, I know people that aren't from the desert can't really fathom that, but that sun is just so hot. And so you'd be in like a puffy jacket, a wind jacket, pants, beanie, double gloves with hot hands, freezing, just shivering. And then all of a sudden you'd be back in shorts and a t-shirt, and that sort of thing, it wreaks havoc on your system because your body's doesn't acclimate to those like huge shifts really well. So I just, and then most people have like a crew. So like, they get to the aid station, they get in their like warm, their warm car, with their sleeping bag and their like, mattress pad or whatever. And I was just like crashed out in like camping chairs. I'd be just like sleeping like this, like my neck, like all kinked. And if I was so tired, I would just literally pass out in those things. But, it was an adventure. I always like tend to go solo, and I know it's a lot harder, but I just like the overall adventure of doing it by myself. So, but when you do it that way, you definitely go slower because you don't have all the people. You're not like, it's like a pit crew. You don't have the pit crew doing everything for you, getting you ready, kicking you out you're kind of relying on yourself to self motivate. And sometimes when it's like, I remember the last day, it was so hot and we had this 21-mile section. And when it's really hot and you have 21 miles, that's a lot of water to carry. And I was sitting at the aid station. And I go, you know what? I'm just going to sleep for 2 hours and just let this heat go away. And then I'm just going to run it when like in the dusk time instead of running it like from 2 to 4. I'm just going to sleep. And then I did. I just like literally just crashed out in a chair, slept for 2 hours, and then was able to do that section kind of in the dusk and nighttime, which was a lot more enjoyable than like having the sun just cook me. And, maybe if I had been with a crew or pacer or someone like that, they would have like gotten me through that section faster. But, I'm out there by myself. It's like day 5, I was just trying to survive at that point. So.
Well, I was going to say too, you were talking about it. I guess I had never thought about it this way till you said that, but you were talking about how cold it was. I remember you posting when you were wearing your jacket because you said something about it.
Yeah.
But man, I never thought about, you had to do that like 4 nights in a row.
Right. Yeah. And I had to carry it all. Like most people, when they have a crew, what you do is you drop off your cold stuff in the morning and then you run all day in your shorts and your shirt or whatever. And then at night again, you pick up all your night stuff and you put it back on. But like I had to carry all my gear in a backpack every day. and all the water and all the food. So yeah, it's a whole different game that, and until you do it, you don't really understand, one, how difficult it is just to carry the extra stuff, but two, and just the logistics. And then two is just the self-motivation. Like,
Yeah.
the ability to, when things are really bad, to keep moving forward, even when no one's telling you can do it, or, you're okay or anything. You're just out there, completely like,
We can definitely relate to that from doing Ball State.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Because you're not allowed to have a crew and you have to
Right.
rely on gas stations for food.
yeah.
But I will say, like, being out in the desert probably even is a little bit different, because how far apart were the aid stations?
They're pretty far. I mean, Destination Trails is pretty famous for, having aid stations that are fairly far apart. A lot of 20s, and if not 20s, like 18 to 19 miles. They're not they're not close together. And the other thing about this race is, like, in 200s, I'm a napper. I'll like crash out 10 minutes, reset myself. And that's sort of how I keep moving forward, rather than like long sleep periods. But there was no shade.
Yeah.
So it was very hard to nap, because I'm sure you saw the video of me like crashed out under the bridge with the big penis, like spray painted on the wall. Well, I mean, I was so lucky to find that it was like an underpass, and it was so cold because of the cement in there and shaded, but it was so hot that day. I was just cooking. And so when I found that, I'm like, I'm taking a nap right here on this hard cement, because there's no shade anywhere else, and I still had probably 8 miles to go to the next aid station. So you had to take those like weird opportunities like that you probably wouldn't normally do in a race, but that's all I had. So
Did you ever run out of water or fuel in between?
probably, I mean, if not run out, just got pretty low. I'm just really good at I try not to run out, but what I'll do is I won't take enough, so you end up kind of rationing the water. And whenever you ration water, then that just means you keep enough, you keep some on you for an emergency, but you just, you don't take enough in. So, I mean, when I got to that aid station after I took a nap in that tunnel, it was like this remote aid station, but they had ice. I remember that. And I drank an entire 2-liter of Coke. I sat in the chair.
Wow.
With a cup of ice, and I just drank the whole thing and then fell asleep in the chair.
Your stomach was like,
oh yeah, but it was just like I was so thirsty. But then the nice thing about Coke is you get the calories, and at that point, like, caffeine's not going to touch you. So I literally just fell asleep in that chair.
man, I bet when you woke up, you were ready to roll with all that sugar.
Oh yeah, I was. The next section, well, and then it started to get cooled off, so the next section wasn't so bad, but. Yeah, it was that was a grind. I mean, there's a lot of drama on Reddit about it. A lot of haters snapping at Destination Trails and Candace and whatnot. But my experience of the race was, it was, for a first year race, it was incredible.
The only negative thing I truly heard was the buckets. Like, I didn't hear anything else other than the buckets.
And I think that was more of like like a crew issue. I never shit in a bucket. Like,
yeah, that was a personal choice.
Yeah, when I run in the wilderness, I'm shitting in the wilderness. I'm digging a hole and I'm shitting in the hole, and then I'm covering it with rocks and sand. So like a normal human. Like, I'm not shitting in camp. So yeah, I never even heard about that. Nobody ever said anything to me. But yeah, I'm sure if you were part of the aid station or part of the crew, and that's your only option, then yeah, I mean, people are kind of soft, and that is probably hard for them. But
no, and I love the fact that you said in the very beginning of this that you love doing a first year race, because there's a lot of runners that will not do a first year race, will not, because of that reason.
It's way harder. I mean, the year one races are normally like when I did Cocadona year one, and I think all the people that hated on Arizona Monster forget how terrible Cocodona was year one. Like, they didn't have food. Like, I ran it solo, and they had like barely any food. Some of the aid stations would have like one little old lady like handling the whole aid station, and like, she'd never volunteered before, had no idea what to do. and here all of a sudden you got like 15 dying runners coming in the aid station, and it was bad. I mean, now you go to Cocadona and it's like you run from gourmet restaurant to gourmet restaurant, but year one, anybody that ran year one knows that race was a disaster. And I loved it. It was amazing. Obviously I've gone back every year, but I try to do like lots of races are like that. Year one, you don't know what you don't know, and so that was the first time Aravaipa had ever put on a 200-mile race. They're really good at 100-mile races, but they had never put on a 200. So they learned a lot. And
it's definitely learning.
Yeah.
We've had our growing pains.
We sure have.
Yeah. I mean, it's can you imagine the difficulty? I mean, you guys are race directors, of putting together a point-to-point 300-mile race. Like, I can't even fathom with like 28 stations, or I don't know how many they had, but like that's an incredibly difficult situation.
Yeah,
like
sure is.
And then you got these guys on Reddit talking about how terrible this and that, and I like click on their name and like I'm like, who is this person? Then you go on Ultra Sign Up and it's like, oh, this is Johnny Bravo from Georgia who's run 150K, and he's sitting on his computer at Reddit telling everybody how horrible this race is. And it's like, bro, you've never even run a 200. It's like, it's just crazy to me.
Well, and the honest truth is, race directing, it's like running. Every year it's something different. I mean, there is something different that's going to happen. Our race last year, the guy delivered the porta potty to the wrong mountain.
He delivered two porta potties that got delivered to the wrong area.
I don't know where they're at.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean,
disappeared, and then this year we had to like actually go out there and physically take pictures and coordinates and everything to make sure that these got in the right spot.
But it's like you said, it's a learning curve.
It is,
and we all learn from it. And if you don't start somewhere, you never get the opportunity. So I'm glad you said that, because Arizona Monster, I've heard really good things. The only negative thing I heard was the buckets, and like, well, I mean, I get it.
We had one of our team members, Emmanuel, run, and he loved it.
The guy that's on our team, absolutely loved it.
Well, how are you supposed to, when you're out in a totally remote area? How are you can't get porta potties out there. Where are you supposed to have people shit? I mean, it's just like a logistical thing, it's not, it's not rocket science. Like, they came up with a solution, but, people didn't like the solution. Well, what should they have done?
Just like you, if you've ran a couple of 100-mile races, that shit don't bother you.
Nope. Don't bother me.
You're used to it.
Yeah. I'm shitting in the hole. Like, my legs, I can barely crotch over, like, it's like, so, and I'm not like I'm a shitter. I'm on a very intense schedule every morning, and it doesn't matter if I'm in a 100-mile race or it's a Monday.
Yep.
At 5 a.m. it's coming out, so, and I know it's coming out. So my body is like, all right, it's time to, and I love it during a race. You just lose about 10 pounds and you just feel refreshed.
Aerodynamic.
Yeah. It is like I'm like, I can't believe I've been holding that all night,
Well, how did your body hold up with Arizona Monster when you finished?
It was, I don't know. It was pretty wrecked. Yeah. I just did my normal, I have a very intense routine.
Really bad, I thought.
What?
Your feet were really bad, weren't they?
Yeah, my feet are always bad. I think, they were swollen. And the thing is I had to finish the race and then drive immediately home. And, sitting for, I don't even know how many hours it was. It was a long drive because I was like almost at the Mexico border, maybe 8 hours. But my wife was leaving the next day, so I had to like get home so I could see her. Otherwise, I wasn't going to see her for a week. So I was like really motivated to get home. And yeah, my feet swelled up real bad. And, you kick rocks, you lose nails, In the long races, I take pretty good care of my feet. I know people think that I don't, but I don't really get blisters or, too bad issues like that because I'm so neurotic. I clean my feet. I put new socks on, I re-lube them, all those things. So
we see that you use salty britches now.
Yeah. I've been using them for a couple years now, I think. I used to use Trail Toes. Somebody sent me some salty britches and said, hey, you should try this stuff. And I tried it.
That was us.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yeah. And now I'm like,
on the podcast.
She like,
you were like, But yeah, Amy's
Amy's
amazing.
awesome.
We are
Yeah.
too. So she's
Yeah.
amazing.
So I've been using it, and I love it, man. It's really helped my feet, and then also just like it's great for those wet races. You know, like like I've done races where my feet were wet for over 100 miles, and it keeps all the moisture out, so you don't get like the wrinkles and the skin that just shreds away and whatnot. And hopefully my videos. I know that I get a lot of haters about them, but I think also I've gotten a lot of DMs from people that have been like, your strategy has really, saved my, races, and my feet has stayed healthy and things like that. So at the end of the day, I know that like people, my feet are ugly and people love to make fun of that. But I know that also the strategy behind my feet like does help people. So, and I think we all know in running really long distances, like you got to have healthy feet.
You got to, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, chafing period is not fun in any long race.
No, it's not. And that salty britches too, you don't really have to apply it all that much. It really stays on there, which is good.
Yep.
Well, not about to. Next year I'm doing that summer spine race in England. And yeah, you're in water a lot. You're going through all these bogs and swamp stuff, and I don't even know. I'm probably going to say the fell running and all, it's very, very moist.
We just had her on the podcast, the lady that won it this summer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to listen to that, because I listened to like an English podcast where she was on.
I'll send it to you. It is really good. She talks a lot about it. She explains also felt running, which
yeah. She's real funny too. When I listen to the English one,
she is.
She's like a real badass.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in general, I'm going to really test salty britches on that one, because obviously my feet are going to be wet for 268 miles. Yeah.
Well, I want to jump back real quick though, because
I know I go all over the place.
No, dude, you're good. You're good. I just want to hear, like, now we've made it through Arizona Monster 300.
Yes.
What was that 3 weeks like to Cocadona? Because I would imagine you were pretty wrecked, and then you're just trying to figure out how to recover, but you still continue to run 100-mile weeks regardless. So,
yeah, I mean, it was
how
a rough
in the world
week.
did you manage that?
Well, and like I only have limited PTO and stuff like that, so I know I worked a ton in those 3 weeks, because I can also do like trades. So what I'll do is I'll like work a shift for my coworker, and then he'll work a shift for me, like so that I can race. So I think I worked a ton. And then, everything was just like really just about recovery. But obviously, how do you recover when you're running another 100 miles every week? And, the hardest part, it's like packing for war, right? I had like 12 or 15 drop bags for Arizona Monster, however many, some ridiculous amount. And each drop bag is very meticulously packed based on where it's located, when the next one is, all that stuff. It's a lot of planning, right, involved. And so, and just a lot of stuff like that I'm going to consumables, right, food and things like that. So then I had 3 weeks, and then I had to do the exact same thing for Cocadona, which, I mean, the time involved in that is really astronomical. And it's an aspect that people don't see. But anytime I do a race, there's a lot of planning involved in the background, because I am doing these things by myself. So I think the hardest part for me, I mean, recovery is my superpower, right? I do that for all my races, but the hardest part was just all the planning, the organization, what am I going to put in all the drop bags, like mentally preparing, I'm going to get to this point, writing myself instructions. Hey, you're at this aid station. You got to go this far to the next drop bag. You got this far to the next aid station. Make sure you add sunscreen, add lube, put all these calories in your pack. You should leave this aid station with this much water, because, you got this far ahead of you, all that sort of stuff. It just takes time to like plan all that. So, and then, with Arizona Monster, it was all just guessing, because who knows? Like, nobody had done it before. I was relying on a lot of data from through hikers on the Arizona Trail. I went pretty deep into the information they had on websites, and I even downloaded an app, which I can't remember what it's called now. That was it's for the Arizona trail through hikers. And on that app they discuss like water sources, because there was places along the trail that you could find water if you wanted to filter it, and things like that. So yeah, I would say in between it was like I worked a ton, I still had to run, I had to plan a whole nother race with gear and food and all that stuff. It was a lot. It was a lot. So got it done though.
Yeah. Well, you're right, man. That's the thing people don't see. If you're running a race by yourself, how long it takes to pack that stuff. And just to go to the grocery store to buy all the stuff that you need and come back and getting everything, ordering gels, socks, shoes, figuring it all out. I can only imagine a 300-mile race. Your pack was probably stuffed full.
It was so heavy.
Yeah.
It was real heavy. Yeah.
So you had to
turn around 3-liter bladder in the back, and then the 2 halves in the front. So, most of the time I had 4 liters of water on me. So, that's very heavy. And then just all the gear,
Okay.
I was almost happy at night,
the whole time.
because at nighttime I took all the, cold gear out of the backpack and got to put it on. So then my backpack became less heavy. You know what I mean? Yep. Even though I was the same weight, it just it felt lighter to have everything out of the pack.
Well, man, just having the bladder full is a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I ran with a 15-liter pack. So, yeah, my shoulders were pretty sore by the end.
Yeah.
Well, so you turn around and do the exact same thing for Cocadona.
Yeah.
And then you go into Cocadona. Like, was there any low point in Cocadona where you're like, well, this was dumb, why did I try to do both? Or were you just like, nope, I got this, we're going to do it, I'm smiling, I'm rolling?
Yeah, I don't ever, not in those situations, but I had low points in Cocadona. Just, I always eat shit around mile 230. There's this one section from like Fort Tuttle to whatever the next aid station's called, which I'm drawing a blank. It's like 16 miles, and every year it gets really, really, you're in Flagstaff, so you're 7,000 feet up in elevation, and every year I go through it at night, and every year it gets freezing cold, and I always end up getting a little disorientated, and just that 16 miles is like the longest 16 miles ever. So yeah, that was bad. And then like Cocodona was a really weird year where it rained and was really cold, and it's never like that. But then on the last day, they changed the course, which, like I said, they change it every year. No big deal. But they had us do this giant mountain climb the last day, and it just happened to get really hot that day. So I ran out of water, and I was like so angry, because it was like the last day, and I was so mad that they didn't have like a mid water drop or anything like that. So I came to that aid station, and I was just like so fired up. And I had like 2 miles to go to finish it. And I came to that aid station and then they're all live streaming me, and I'm like, I'm coming after you, Steve. Steve's the race director. I was so pissed. But Steve and I had a good talk afterwards, and I'm sure next year if they do it again like that, they'll have some water up at the top of the mountain.
I had no idea till you said that they change the course every year. That's interesting.
Well, not on purpose, but it's just, I think part of it is they try to make it better, but then also part of it is just when you have a point to point through all these different private properties and state land, federal land, all that stuff is just always a moving target. Like Cocodona right now is struggling with the fact that there's some owl that apparently doesn't like runners when it's fucking. And so, the bureaucracy of the government has decided that runners disturb this owl from having sex. And so it only gets disturbed if like 300 runners come by. But if it's like 350, then the owl's not going to have sex. But the same road that these runners are going down, you can drive as many cars and 4x4s down it as what? That doesn't disturb the owl. Only the runners. So in, standard bureaucracy of the government.
We're talking 10 days of the year, though. Like, come on.
No, don't try to make sense of it. Just know that these owls are very sensitive to runners going through their territory. they have a weird sexual kink or something. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but if they see more than 300 runners, then they don't have sex.
It becomes socially awkward at that point.
And luckily, we have a government that protects the owls so that they can continue to, have sex. Anyways, so things like that they gotta deal with. And then just things change. Like, it's so crazy. Like, when I first started running Cocadona, we ran through this valley outside of Prescott, and it was nothing. And now, over 5 years, there's probably 20,000 homes they've built.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, every year there's like another neighborhood that's like built up. But when we first did it, it was just dirt, and then a road got built. And then a small neighborhood, there was like 20 homes. And then the next year there was like 1,000 homes, and they were like grading the hill over here. And now it's like, but so, things change, right? So like you sometimes have to navigate those things as well. Sedona is always a moving target because obviously Sedona, there's a lot of, I'm sure, regulation about where we can go and where we can't go. I think I've gone through 4 different Sedona changes, which is cool because Sedona is amazing to run through. So I've run through it like a bunch of different ways. Yeah.
Well, were you the owl story? So is that mating season?
I'm being a little cheeky on it. I don't really know, like, all, people will probably be like, well, that's not really what's going on. And maybe it's not, but that's,
well, we know that you were being very sarcastic, but
like, maybe, I just know it involves an owl, it involves sex, and it involves the number of runners that can go through. So, it's like, it reminds me of the story. Like, we have this race in California called the Angeles Crest 100. It was my first 100. And it's one of the, original races. And it used to drop down into this valley, and the government said, oh, well, there's trails that go through this valley. Well, you can't send runners down that valley because there's this salamander like down there. So somehow running on a trail is going to disturb the salamander. And so they had to reroute the entire race for the salamander, or maybe it was a yellow spotted toad, or, something like that. And then the next year there was a fire and it burned that whole valley out. So, guess what happened to that toad or salamander? It's all dead. So, sometimes we can be a little silly about our rules and laws and protecting things, but
that's true. Yeah. What, well, we're in Cocadona at this point, and you've got everything packed. No, you're good. I love it. I love the stories. I'm
learning about owls over here.
I know. It's intriguing.
I have a Cocodona shirt that they sold that has like an owl on it, and I think it's hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah.
I wish you would have wore that.
Yeah. Sorry.
They should make that the new mascot.
Yeah.
That should be the new animal.
I'm sure they're taking it really seriously because, like, they don't want to get their permits, like, like pulled. But yeah, I'm not going to take it serious. So
save the owls, baby. But
like, Andy, by the way, we got a call from the government, and you're not allowed to run Cocadona anymore because you made fun of them. It's like, wow.
Wouldn't put it past.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give the owl some salty britches. I think that helps.
Yeah, there you go.
Were you more destroyed in Cocadona 250, like finishing that? Because, I assume this is the first time you've ran that many miles that close together for like an actual race while doing 200 or doing your normal 100-mile weeks. But were you pretty messed up at the end of Cocadona?
Yeah. Cocadona is a hard race. Arizona Monster, because it was on the Arizona Trail, was a lot more runnable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Cocadona, anybody that's done it will tell you there's just large sections of it that are very, very technical. And, they're not really runnable. So it just ends up, and just so rocky, you just end up hurting your feet and whatnot. Like, by the end, I was like, I don't want to step on a rock again for at least a month because it's just so rocky, and it just beats the hell out of your feet. Your feet just get really sore. So, I was pretty wrecked after Cocadona, but then I did have a nice break. I didn't race again for, I think, like 2 months. So, yeah.
Yeah, straight into Crazy Mountain.
Yeah. So instead, in June, I took my son and wife, and we did the Inca Trail in Peru. So that was kind of like my June down for like 2 weeks, and that kind of, normally I do like San Diego 100 and like Bighorn in that time, but instead I just did that instead, and it was it was amazing.
Well, and I saw a lot of that, and I also saw that your son ran. Was it a marathon or half marathon?
Yeah. In between Cocadona and Arizona Monster, he and I flew to Salt Lake City and ran a marathon. That's right. I did throw that in there too. So
yeah, I mean, kudos to him too. That's pretty cool. That's congratulations. That's
and he's only 14. So, and he had just turned 14, like, I don't know, a couple weeks before. So, and that
wasn't the same one you ran as a prime bottle.
No. We were supposed to do the LA Marathon. I don't read rules a whole lot, and so I was going to do the LA Marathon with him, and like a month out, somebody messaged me and they're going, "Hey, you got to be, I think you got to be 18 or 16 to run the LA Marathon," and I was like, "No, that can't be right." And then I looked into it as sure shit, you have to be 16. So that kind of messed that up. So then I went into like a panic mode. I'm like, I didn't realize there was age limits on, this is how silly I am, right? I don't know these things, but yeah, apparently there's age limits on all the marathons. There's like 3 you can do. Honolulu, Salt Lake City, and Marine Corps Marathon, like, have relaxed age limits. And so luckily Salt Lake City was just literally a month after LA. So I was like, all right, we're doing Salt Lake City, which, it's above 5,000 feet elevation. And it's not a flat marathon. So it was pretty challenging. Even for me, I was like, ooh, this is a hard first marathon, this is not an easy one, but yeah, we got it done, and he did well.
Was he pumped afterwards, or was he like, "Dad, I'm not running again for a long time"?
I think a little of both. Like, he was very proud. He was very proud of himself, but he's definitely, there's no marathon plan in the future. So yeah, we had all these plans. We were going to go to like a fancy steakhouse and all this stuff. And we got back to the hotel, and he did not want to get out of bed. He was just laying in bed, and then he's like, just order room service. I ordered room service for him. He took like 2 bites, like went and threw up, and then just laid back in bed, so it was the full, like, stuff.
He got the whole experience.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, this is what it's like after you finish a big race. You think like, oh, I'm going to be in this great mood and go like eat a fancy meal. And then you realize like, I think I'd just rather eat ice cream off my stomach while lying in bed,
Yeah. It's like, now why.
Isn't it crazy though? Like, for the marathons, they got age limits. Then like 100 milers out here, you can be 15, 13, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and so the thing is too, for like LA, if you join, there's a group called, I think, like Students Run LA or something like that, and you can run it up to, I think, you're 13 and on, but you have to be part of this group. And the group does all this training together, and they do long runs together, and you have to qualify. And then if you do all these check boxes, then they let you run it. But you have to live in LA County, and I don't live in LA County, so we couldn't do that. But I have a friend who she runs an organization in Orange County, which is also, it's like the beach area of California. And she trains for the Orange County Marathon. She trains all these young kids. And there's a lot of research out. She sent it to me because obviously all the haters were telling me I was going to kill my son by letting him run. But there's a lot of like research on the health benefits, both mentally and physically, for young kids, running marathons. So, I mean, who knows? I feel like, yeah, maybe it did a little damage, but life does damage too, I mean, better than playing video games and doing drugs.
I was going to say, it's not like he's running a marathon every week.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
One, he will survive. It will be all right. He probably learned a lot from that, and I guarantee you one thing, it made him a whole lot tougher.
Right. Well, and we trained for it for 6 months, which was
awesome.
It was a lot of fun, because we did a long run every week. We did the standard marathon training where, he started, he could only run 2 miles, and we moved it all the way up into the 20s, and then he ran the marathon.
I love it.
We just had a kid over here, I think he was like 10 or 12, run multiple 50Ks.
Wow. Well, you saw that kid that just got second place at Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Bigfoot? Yeah, he just got second place, and he was only behind first place by like 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And he's 18,
Cool. Pretty amazing. I love the fact we see young people now starting to jump into these events.
Yeah.
Our last race that we just put on, we have a 3-hour option. I mean, you're not going to get an ultra in it, but we had probably 7 or 8 kids that were under 15.
That's
One of them
great.
podiumed.
Yeah, one of them podiumed.
Which is
Well,
cool.
one cool thing about my TikTok channel is because TikTok's for the youth is I have hundreds of thousands of teenage boys, mostly boys. I mean, I'm sure there's girls too that like follow my like channel, and they're all on the cross country team, which is great. They're running like 3 miles, but they love my stuff, and I guarantee you, when I was in high school, I didn't know about ultras. I didn't know that people were out doing this thing. I didn't find that out till I was in my 30s. I've educated a whole new generation that this exists, and as long as it's in their brain that it exists and that people are doing it, then in their brain they're telling themselves it's possible. And I think that's like a really important lesson for young runners and young athletes to know, is that A, it exists, and B, it's possible. And then someday they might strive to do it, or they want to like test themselves, and you know what, I'm gonna try that. Well, how do I do it? Well, I'm obviously going to have to train. And then they can go down that rabbit hole of how to get there. But I want our sport to keep going. And the only way our sport can keep going is if we educate the younger generation that, they can do these things.
And I was going to say, by the time they're our age, there will be a 700-mile race.
1,000-mile race, yeah.
Well, let's finish off a little bit about Leadville. I mean, since you're coming fresh off that, and then we'll jump into your book. But how did Leadville go for you?
It went really well for about 70 miles, and then I had 30 miles of just the most terrible death slog of, my life, which is almost exactly what happened last year. I tried a bunch of different things this year, hoping that it would be different, and I just get altitude sickness, and it just takes me out, and I'm not really sure how to combat it. I mean, other than just like going up there, everyone's like, oh, you got to go acclimate, a week before. Some people go up like 2 weeks before. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Except I have this thing called like a job and a family, a life. And I can't just go spend 2 weeks, before a race. I'm lucky that I got up there a day and a half before. That's like a huge thing for UTMB. I fly in Thursday night and the race is Friday. And it's normally how I roll. So
I understand that.
Yeah. It's just, if you want to race 10 times a year, if I had one race a year, then you could go up for 2 weeks and I could take all that time off. But if you want to do 10 races a year, then you have to be very inventive with how you spend your PTO. So yeah. So Leadville, it's that vibe up there is just so incredible. It's like bigger than life. The aid stations are just, the only place I've ever seen anything like that is UTMB, with the amount of people cheering for you and all that sort of stuff. It's just so amazing. They get you really pumped up at the aid stations, and it's beautiful. The first time I did it, I didn't realize it's like basically a road race. Everyone's like, oh, how did what's his name, David Roush or whatever, like run it in 15 hours? And it's like, well, because it's like 70 miles of road race, so it's like you can really run that stuff pretty quick. Now you're 10,000 feet. So, obviously that makes it harder, but there's not a whole lot of like technical terribleness except for Hope's Pass, which I don't know how he ran that. Like looking at his splits, he's running up this mountain, and I think his slowest mile was like a 20-minute mile, but that mile it took me 33 minutes. So, it's a very steep slog. I don't know how he did it in 20 minutes. So, and it's not just like steep. There's like rocky sections where you're almost using your hands because it's, so rocky. So very impressive to him. Besides Hope's Pass, which will eat your soul. And that's my favorite part of the race, because I like mountains. So I like that terrible climb up and down and up again. That's the part of the race I enjoy the most. And then the rest of it's like, okay, I just gotta, I gotta run this. But yeah, I took both years I've done it. I told myself never doing this again. And then I probably took 1,200 pictures with fans while I
Oh,
was there.
that's cool,
I
mean,
man.
so
That's
it's hard like to say, oh, I'm not going to go back there when my fan base is just like so invested in that race. And maybe someday my body will be like, hey, we're not going to get super sick. So
yeah.
I brought
You
Zofran.
got to keep doing it till you get it right.
Yeah. I mean, I brought Zofran, which would have probably taken away the nausea, but at mile 70, I was at an aid station, and this lady who I'd been kind of leapfrogging with here and there, she was just vomiting into this bag. And she's like, Andy, you have any Zofran? And I was like, yeah. And I gave her my Zofran. And then, like, I don't know, 8 miles later, I was vomiting. So, I was like, but, at the time I felt like really good. And I was like, oh, it didn't hit me this time. I'm like in a better spot, and then it did. So,
Yeah, we had a lady that we had on the podcast probably back late last year, but she ran Leadville and she podiumed. I think she's coached by David Roach, but Leah Mulligan.
okay.
She lives right here near us. She had a really
Nice.
good race too. So
Yeah.
and then kind of cool though that both course records got broke this year.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's an incredible thing. People are really learning how to run these races much faster and use fuel more, efficiently and everything. So,
and keeping it down, man, that's the thing. It's like you just that's just an art to figure out, like just to try to figure out how to fuel and keep it down. I mean,
yeah, I got a problem with that. I can't figure it out.
Yeah,
everything comes.
Yeah, I mean, I literally felt great for 70 miles and then just felt the worst, So,
do you think that was just the altitude?
Yeah, because I mean, I felt it last year too, and it just, I don't ever get nauseous at races. I don't have a bad stomach. I have an ironclad stomach. I'm sitting there like, Arizona Monster double fisting burgers, eating 2 burgers, and then I go out and just run, and like my stomach's like totally fine. So it's not a stomach issue. It's literally just an elevation issue. So
I guess you got to try it again next year, though. You got to get it right.
It's so hard, man. And it's like I just love to do really, really hard things.
2 Zofran pills next year. 2.
Yeah, next year I'm going to
bring a whole bottle. Bring the whole bottle.
The whole box. So I'm not kidding either. I'm going to. So,
well, man, tell us about the book now. I'm really excited about the book. When I saw you post this, I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear this one. Because I mean, I'm a fan. I love listening to all the ultra runners books. It's just I'm a junkie on that. Like every long run, even in races, sometimes I'm listening to runner books. So can't wait.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I love, obviously, when you spend as much time running. I kind of like when I train, I listen to books and podcasts, and then when I race, I listen to music. So I just consume like a very large amount of books and podcasts. And so I definitely feel like there's not enough like running books out there. Not that this is necessarily a running book. It's more like my autobiography. I'm 47 and I have a pretty interesting like backstory. I'm this point in my life, I'm a successful battalion chief for a fire department, ultra runner, family man, everything. But when I was younger, I was pretty heavily involved in drugs, ran away from home, and just sort of my journey from that Andy to this Andy has a lot of ups and downs, a lot of mistakes, a lot of thought I figured it out and then messed up again and then had to like figure it out again. Yeah, this is the book of, my life basically. And hopefully it inspires people that are in bad times to look that you can always change and you can always make yourself better no matter how old you are. And then just, hopefully it's, slightly entertaining, just, hearing about my life. But yeah, I'm excited. I was on Sally's podcast, was it Shoe Strong podcast? Afterwards, she kind of like put it in my ear, like, you really need to write a book. And I thought really hard about it. And I've been thinking about a book for probably, 10 years, just kind of like milling it around in my head. But I had this like number that I wanted to have like 1 million followers before I did something like that. And I'm pretty much there. And so all the kind of stars aligned and I I sat down and made the time and wrote it. And now we're going through the whole process, which is a very long process to get it out. I am pretty excited about it. So I think it'll be a good thing, and hopefully it'll help people and inspire people and entertain people.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I said, I just listened to Mask. I didn't even know this book existed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he runs with Andy, and I was like excited because I was like, I can't wait to read Andy's book now. Like, I can't wait. Have you got a name picked out, or is that?
I mean, it's going to be "Smile or You're Doing It Wrong." You know,
I love
so
it.
yeah. I mean, my catchphrase.
There's no other way you can name it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's it.
Exactly. So I mean, I have like we have the cover art done and everything. I'm hopefully going to be doing pre-sales soon. I have a web page that we've built that I think I'm going to launch it like probably Monday. Working on like a Patreon. I mean, I'm just trying to do a bunch of different things all at once while also running 100 miles, racing all over the world, and maintaining a very intensive job that's very time consuming. Yeah, it's a process, but
if you will send us the website link sometime next week, whenever you get it launched, we'll tag it into this podcast too.
Okay. So I mean, it's just andyglaze.com. Pretty simple.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and put the link in there, and that way it's good.
So
then we're gonna have hats and shirts. Like this is one of my shirts, and then I have hats with a similar sort of thing. I mean, eventually I'll probably have more merch like dinner miles and your mom can run a 5K and things like that. But yeah, we're starting small just because it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
I mean, if I had like, I have somebody helping me now, which is odd for me because I've done everything myself up until this point. But when I started doing the book, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I read a book on how to write a book. And then the book was like, yeah, you need to get somebody to help you. So I was like, all right. So I have like an agent who's, coordinates all the book stuff and does all that fun back end stuff that I don't have time to do. So
are you going to have a Audible version of this?
Yeah, I'm going to do Audible and I'm going to record it. Right now, I just got the first edit back, which is the longest edit. It took like 5 weeks. And then probably be 2 more small edits. And then I'll read the Audible. And then we'll be close. I'm hoping December-ish it'll come out, like maybe like a Christmas book or something like that. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're going to read it. Because like a lot of people who write a book and then they don't read it, I just can't. It doesn't,
Well, they miss the emotion.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
Like you're telling the story, and you can put your emotion because you're living that moment again. And like you can tell. And
it's
when
so hard though. Like I wrote it, and then before I sent it to the editor, I read the whole thing out loud. Just to like make sure it sounded good. And I was just sobbing during sections. I'm like, how am I going to read this in Audible? I'm going to have to really lock in. But yeah, there'll definitely probably sections that my emotional inflection will be, it'll definitely be present because, it's my life story. There's really low sections and,
but that's what
we love. We love it.
Yeah.
You need the emotion in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, you said that you read the Cam Haines book.
Right.
And in the Audible version of it, when he's talking about Roy, you can
tell
exactly. He is getting emotional. I mean, and you connect with that.
Right. It'll be therapeutic for me to do it for sure. So it was definitely therapeutic to write it because there's a lot of stories that I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about because they were a bit traumatic, but it was good to like sit down and to write it out. Very therapeutic. So.
Well, man, I'm extremely proud of you to take that on, the dedication, but the time to do that, like that's a lot of time, and you're already a busy man. I mean, we all have families, and if you're a family man and you're an ultra runner, that's already a lot with a day job. And then you throw in any other endeavors that you're doing, it's really hard. So, man, I'm super excited for you and super proud of you for doing it.
Thanks. I hope it works out. So that's the other thing. It's like, I talk about doing hard things and like, staying scared because that's where you grow. And it's like, this is a scary thing for me because it's totally out of my comfort zone. People are going to learn things about me that very few people know, which is scary. And then B, it's just, what if people don't like it? What if it, what if it fails? What if, all the what ifs that get into your brain and, all that sort of stuff.
Did Eli give you any pointers?
Oh yeah. Because Eli and I talk, I mean, we talk almost every day. So for sure, we definitely had some good runs where we talked about strategies and stuff like that. I'm trying to get him to write a book too. I get in his ear all the time, like, hey, we got to start working on book 2. Lots happened since book 1. So, we got to.
For everybody that's listening, while we're waiting on Andy's book to come out, check out Mask. It's really good. I listened to it this past week. It's a little really bit of running.
Because Eli, again, it's a comeback story. He was
you're not kidding.
Really dark spot, and now you look at him and he's a really successful ultra runner, and just very positive and everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I started listening to it, I had no idea what I was really listening to, and then I'm like halfway in the book, and I'm like, man, this is a lot of drama. This is really good. Like this poor guy, and then all of a sudden I realize who it is. And I'm like, oh, he's an ultra runner. Like I know who this is, and then it all starts making sense. But like it is such a good book.
Yeah, I can't remember. Did he do ultra runs in the end of the book? I think he was just
very end. He just started getting into it.
Yeah, he did like a 50K or something like that.
Yeah, he was doing marathons there about 3/4 of the way in the book, but then he gets into ultras. But it's
so
great.
I mean, and now he's done how many 200s? All this stuff, and he's really pushed himself to do all this very challenging stuff. So
while y'all are waiting on Andy's book, check out.
Yeah, his book's great.
Yeah, it is.
I agree.
And I can't wait for yours to come out. But before we get into questions, we'll get into questions here in just a second, Matt, if you're ready. We do have listener questions for you, Andy.
Let's go.
But before we get into that real quick, when you get ready to release the podcast, you going to make some announcements so that everybody's ready? Like what's
the book? When I get ready to release the book?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said podcast.
I'm like, I don't have time for a podcast. Don't try to give me another job.
Book, podcast.
Yeah. So when you get ready for the book, are you going to try to give us a heads up a couple weeks before?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's going to be a pre-sale for sure. And then, there'll be a huge, I foresee a huge media tour when the book gets released. I mean, Leadville, Cam Haynes is going to he's like, hey, I'm going to get you on my podcast. So I'll be trying to get on some pretty large, no offense to you guys are amazing.
Oh yeah. No, not at all.
Like big podcasts, that have a lot of reach and whatnot. Yeah. So there'll definitely be a media tour for sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I'll still pop in here,
You should. I mean,
I will for sure. Hey, I love you guys.
We're not as big as some of the West Coast podcasts, but we have fun.
We're working on the East Coast over here.
I've gone on podcasts that probably have 2 people that listen to it. I just like to talk about running and stuff. That doesn't bother me. But when it comes to
our
the book,
listeners absolutely love you.
I'm going to try to reach as many people as possible.
I love it. Well, thank you for doing what you do, man. We love having you on here.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're going to make it a yearly thing. We at least got to have you on here once a year just to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. And one of these days, you'll see me in a race if I can motivate to get to the East Coast.
Well,
that's a lot of questions we got about that.
Yeah, we've got a couple of our teammates running Cocadona, so you might start seeing some of us there here soon. So
that's good. That's good.
I wanted to run Cocadona this coming year, but my daughter graduates in May, and I'm like, man, that's too close. Like, I'm not even going to take a chance. Like, I don't want to miss anything, but the following year I want to run Cocadona. So hopefully I'll at least see you there in 2027.
Yeah, I'll still be hopefully still part of the original 6 grinding away.
I have a good feeling you will be. All right, Matt, we'll finish us off with some questions.
All right.
That way Andy can go do his evening run.
Yeah, he's got to run.
Right, 100 miles.
So the first question is, have you ever considered running a backyard ultra? Why or why not?
I mean, I've thought about it. Honestly, none of this just really fit my schedule as we're. But yeah, I mean, I can see myself doing it at some point. It doesn't necessarily call to me as far as something that, I don't know, motivates me to want to do. I mean, I understand the appeal, but I don't know, running through the mountains point to point, that's where my heart's at. So, That's what I really like. I run fire station loops for, I don't know, 15 years now, just running around a firehouse for, I don't know how many, 40,000 miles, and that's like the ultimate backyard ultra that I've been doing for 15 years. So if you can run a block for 15 years, mentally, I know I could do it. I don't know if I would enjoy it the same way I would enjoy, a point to point or a race like that. So I have limited PTO at this point. I might retire in the near future. And once I retire and I have unlimited days off, then that will open a whole other door of possibilities for me. But for right now, I have to be very specific of what I want to do based on my work schedule.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It was like Cam Haynes after he retired. He went on he's doing a lot of races now since he's retired.
Well, and just, his ability to manage his brand has really, gone up since he retired. I mean, blue collar workers, like, it's, you're working, I just got off, see, how many hours did I just work? 70 something. I don't know. And then I go back on Saturday and I work 80 something, and it takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of time.
Yep. That's where those loops come into play. You can't leave too far, can you?
So during
I get the miles, but I wouldn't say that they're the most enjoyable.
Yeah, they're not the most scenic.
So during your work day, you can go out there and run loops and all that stuff while you're just, waiting for something to happen.
Normally, like in the mornings, like we have workout time in the mornings and then we have workout time in the evenings. But like during the day, like any work day, we're expecting in between running calls, there's 1,000 other things we still have to do as firefighters, from, business inspections to training to like wildland inspections and all these other like things that we have to get accomplished. We try to get those accomplished between the working hours of the day, but like in the evening time and the like early morning time when nothing's open, those are kind of for us to like be able to work out. And at my department, we make physical fitness a priority. So like we want the guys working out, not only for mental health, but like we want them in good shape because firefighting is a physical job. It's some departments, you get these chiefs that are real dicks and don't make it a priority, but that's not the case in my department. We're a physical department and we like to be in good shape.
That's good.
And if you're one of those chiefs that's a dick, I hope you retire soon.
That's always my running joke sometimes when I see some of these firefighters or like anybody, but I'm like, I'm not sure they could save me. If something was going wrong, I'm not sure.
And I've dedicated a lot of my channel because I have thousands of firefighters that follow me to combating that. I call it the blue chair syndrome because most firehouses have these like blue recliners. And there's kind of a mentality that once you're older in your career, you just sit in those chairs and watch TV in between calls. And then firefighters tend to eat terribly, And so they get fat and they get lazy and they get out of shape. And then boom, the tones go off. You got a fire, your adrenaline spikes and you're having to do all this activity. And then you end up having a heart attack and dying. And so, I want guys out there, being in shape and working out. And I see a ton of firefighters running ultras now. It's really great for mental health, PTSD, things like that. But, firefighters want to test themselves and they want to push themselves. So this is a great thing to channel their energy into.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Yeah, we got the Cleveland, Tennessee. There's the whole firefighters down there that work for the city. They're really into physical fitness as well. And they'll come out and run races and ruck and all that stuff. And it's good to see. Yeah.
I mean, everywhere I go, firefighters show up and, they say the same thing. It's an older generation that's retiring, that's, leaving the fire service that tends to be the, sort of overweight ones and things like that. And then with the fire service, you have a volunteer like component because a lot of rural areas can't afford firehouses, right? So it's like they're all volunteers. And in that case, you're going to get people that are just inherently out of shape, but just live in the community and just want to help. So, that's kind of hard to combat too, because you're just average guy, or girl, like just volunteering. So
Yeah.
Well, that's
If
much
you're
different. Not on the payroll, sitting in the blue recliner eating
right,
for you.
yeah, if you're a professional firefighter, then you should, take physical fitness, as a priority.
Yeah. All right. The next question: how do you pack on so many miles and not get injured?
Well, I mean, that's the $1,000,000 question, right? I think I do get injured, but mostly it's from trauma. Because whenever you fall, you hurt yourself. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
running for
but
20.
not self-inflicted injuries.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like anything, right? It's like I've been running for 20 something years. So my body has slowly adapted to like where I'm at. I didn't just like start running and then go, I'm going to run 100-mile weeks. Let's do that. Like that was probably 15 years into my running journey when I started like doing really high mileage. If I were to tell everybody the main secret, which nobody is going to want to like do or listen to, but I'm going to tell it to you anyways. I do 0 speed work. That's the key.
Yeah, slow, easy miles.
If you want to get injured, do speed work. There you go.
Man, I had a good speed workout Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. That's just my, I'm not a coach, but, that's from my experience. As someone that used to run really fast, yeah, that would be one of the reasons why.
Now, how many miles do you run a day? What's like your lowest day?
I mean, that changes. I mean, sometimes at work I only get, 5 to 10. I'm always shooting for 15 as my lowest, but it doesn't at work. It doesn't, always happen. I think Monday, because Monday was the day after Leadville and I had to go right back to work. I ran 8 miles Monday and I think I ran 9 miles on Tuesday just because work was insane. And then I was obviously very sore from Leadville. So, today I'll probably run.
Those day jobs getting in the way,
I know.
We got to get rid of the day jobs.
I promoted to chief, and it's really cut into my ability to run as much as I used to.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, way more responsibility. I have that. I made myself too important at work. So.
Yeah, now you need a shirt that says "Smile, Chief."
Right. Yeah. Sometimes at work I am not smiling. I can tell you.
I bet.
No. All right. The next question is: how do you tell your mind that you're ready for 3 big races in such a short amount of time?
So, I mean, I assume they're talking because I did Crazy Mountain, Leadville, and now I'm doing UTMB. I don't tell my mind that I'm ready for it. I come up with the plan and I just try to accomplish the plan. I'm very goal orientated. So like when I set a goal, then I like really focus in on it. And I enjoy that. I enjoy like tackling big goals. And the way I tackle like a big month like this is just one race at a time, one aid station at a time. I'm just doing Crazy Mountain and I'm just doing it from aid station to aid station. I'm not thinking about Leadville. When I'm in Leadville, I'm not thinking about UTMB, although a lot of people brought it up, so it was hard not to think about UTMB. So there was like the running joke while I was running Leadville. I'm like, oh yeah, this is my taper for UTMB. And everyone thought that was really funny. But while I was in Leadville, I was really just trying to get to the next aid station. The whole how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, I just divide it up into manageable sections and just focus on that section while I'm doing it and then on to the next section.
Yep. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. That's how I do a week too. It's like just divide it up into manageable sections. And
yeah, if you think about the whole thing, man, it can
overwhelm.
Yeah.
Creates too much anxiety.
Too
much stress.
5 to 10 miles at a time for, I don't know, most normal races, not the 20 miles of Cocadona and
right. Those
Arizona,
those get a little bit.
But 5 to 10 miles at a time, and you just live like that, you can accomplish a lot.
It's definitely easier to plan for 100-miler than it is something like Cocadona, where you're trying to, stage bags and get everything ready for a 20-mile stretch.
Yeah.
It's different.
20 miles a long time like it.
You can run 100-milers for the most part and survive from aid station to aid station without taking anything.
Yeah. Well, some 100. If you get into the mountain 100-milers, it gets a little bit more challenging.
That's true.
But yeah, I run some 100-milers where I don't need to bring anything like Rocky Raccoon or something like that, or, Jackpot. You don't need to carry anything. So that's nice.
All right. The next question is they want to know about the South. When are you coming to the Southeast?
Southeast. Well, I've done Badwater Cape Fear twice, so I have done the Southeast twice, but
It's funny you said that. I was literally just looking at this race. I was like, man, I want to do that.
yeah. Well, my thing is that I really don't like ticks and I don't want to get Lyme disease. And so, I have this like probably how people from the South are like, I don't want to get eaten by a mountain lion and I don't want to get bit by a rattlesnake. But to me, that doesn't scare me because I see it all the time. So I just have this hang up on the East Coast because of your guys' tick situation, honestly.
We got rattlesnakes here too. So
yeah, but rattlesnakes don't want to bite you.
We got rattlesnakes and copperheads. Ticks, I don't know.
Snakes aren't, they don't go out of their way to try to mess with you unless you step.
Yeah, we only had a few mountain lion sightings. We've not had too many.
Bears.
Yeah,
we do have
tick
ticks.
thing,
We got plenty of ticks. Like you can take some home with you. We have.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I'm not. But you guys have a lot of deer too, so your mountain lions are well fed. Yeah, you don't have to like really. Yeah. As long as they're eating, they're not going to go after a human.
Yeah.
We got lots of wild pigs too.
Wild pigs. Those are little motherfuckers, but I don't. Yeah, they can be like, yeah. I've definitely seen some pigs before.
Yeah, we got plenty of those.
Plenty of them. I was actually clearing the.
You'll see the whole family.
And a little came out snorting at me.
Yeah.
All right.
We had javelina, but they tend to run away from you.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I bet that's a hot area for pigs to be. Like, damn.
It'll be fried bacon out there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a ton of them out in Arizona. They make it work. So, yeah.
All right. My last question is from a bunch of listeners. We should invite him to the Cherokee Ultra next year.
Where is that?
If he doesn't want to do ticks, he definitely don't need to be on the Cherokee.
That's
Cherokee National Forest.
That's our race that we put on in the Cherokee National Forest.
It's 130K, but it's through goes through sections of like the John Muir Trail over here and Cherokee National Forest. But you're gonna see pigs, you're gonna see bears, you're gonna see snakes, and you're gonna see plenty of ticks.
Right. Yeah. Well, you're really selling it. I can do bears and pigs and snakes, but ticks, I'm like,
But you also get to explore the Cherokee National Forest.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
the river, it's just absolutely beautiful.
I just take a DEET shower and, just go from there. Does DEET work on ticks?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I've never used it.
Yeah, I have used it. And that's what's funny is like me and him when we're marking this trail or we're out there running, I'll feel something crawling. I look down, it's a tick, and I just flip it off of me. I've been lucky. I've never had Lyme disease. Don't want it, but I do know people that have had it. So when it's in the dead summer, I spray Repel or something on, like something with DEET on it, and I don't get them.
Yeah.
But if you don't put any on, you might as well plan on ticks.
Yeah,
yeah. So there's a way around it, but that's my hang up. So
Well, understandable. We've all got our things. We'll get you out here one day, though.
Yeah. Maybe I can work an aid station or something like that.
Now we do have some races that are on road and loops, more like Jackpot. So maybe that's something you
can explore. No ticks on the road,
but hopefully we'll see you at Cocadona too. So that works.
Yeah, definitely. You will see me there. So,
sleeping up.
Hopefully it won't be. I don't know if it's going to be another Arizona Monster year or Coco Monster.
Coco Monster, baby.
Hopefully, I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do this year or next year.
I bet
looking at that MDS, out in Morocco. Which is the same time as Arizona Monster. So I haven't necessarily decided if I'm going to go to Morocco or if I'm going to run the Monster again.
Oh, that's cool.
Morocco sounds nice.
Yeah, that is.
Wow.
You've never ran that one, right?
No. It looks pretty challenging. It's a stage race, but you have to carry all your stuff from stage 1 all the way through. So I think everything gets lighter as you go through because you're eating food. But yeah, it's a lot of food to carry in day 1, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of sand too, right?
Yeah. Well,
Is that the one that Zany ran?
I don't know. I just remember there was a book at Hernan Fend wrote. It's an ultra running book, and he runs MDS in there, and he tells the whole story about it and like how he didn't take like gators and his like the same. It was just it was so funny.
Yeah. I mean, people are running like plastic bags and stuff, right? Like to try to protect the sand from getting into their shoes and everything. Yeah.
That sounds like it's something you should do, Andy.
Yeah. I am a desert runner. I can, Cape Fear, Badwater Cape Fear, you're running on that beach for 50 miles. You want to talk about running in sand. That was,
yeah.
And I did it twice. I don't know why I did it twice. So,
well, Andy, man, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's been super fun catching up. It's, I know you need to go get your dinner run in now, so we'll get you out of here, but thank you so much. Always so much fun. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And we can't wish you the most luck in the world for this book, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it and can't wait for it to come out. So please keep us updated, and we'll share something on here whenever you get ready to release it.
Sounds good.
Well, Andy, take care, man.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
you so much for your time.
Thank you.
See you, brother.
Bye.